And that was your last lesson in the Grove. Now, each of you will head off on your own path. How much the Grove's teachings can help you in the real world depends on how well you can put knowledge into practice. However, heed this warning. If you ever do anything disgraceful out there, don't ever claim you were the student of Anaxagoras, one of the 7 sages.
Professor Anaxa, there are still other classes scheduled on the calendar. Are you sure you didn't...
Firstly, call me Professor Anaxagoras. Secondly, to clarify, the last lesson means the last lesson I will teach you. I will be entering seclusion from today onwards to research ancient alchemy, and all my teaching activities will be put on hold.
Ah, I see. So you're saying that the lessons taught by all the other teachers aren't good enough to be considered lessons?
All you do every day is wag that sharp tongue of yours. That's a credit deduction, fine enough IDs Elysiae. I have nothing left to say. Next.
Please wait, Professor. According to the Grove's protocols for a cohort's final class, the lecturer should take some time in that lesson to discuss the students' post-graduation aspirations with them and guide them toward a solid path. Surely you can't skip such a crucial step, Professor.
The teaching assistant, Miss Hyacinth, is truly Professor Anaxa's nemesis.
Fine. Since Hyacinthia insists on this, let's go through the process. Since some of you are so eager to speak, why don't we start with you, Finan of IDs Elysiae? What is your post-graduation aspiration?
Me? Well, it's not exactly an aspiration, but the only thing I want to do is to protect the people I care about.
I see. So you want to be a hero? How boring. Next.
I didn't say...
Castorus, you've been giggling for quite some time. How about you go next?
Perhaps my answer is a bit vague and meaningless, Professor Anaxagoras, but... I hope the world can be freed from the agony of death, so that every living being may find calming peace.
How naive. So naive that it makes me want to weep for your fairy tale. See, this is why I don't want to follow those outdated protocols. All I get are boring answers. Since you suggested this whole process, why don't you wrap this up, Hyacinthia? Share your aspiration with everyone, and let's see if yours stands out.
So it's finally my turn. Good thing I came prepared. My aspiration is nothing less than completing the final blank page at the end of the hero's epic.
Blank page? An interesting description. Do explain, assistant.
I've read all of Amphorius's heroic epics while studying at the Grove, and a common thread came to my attention. Almost every epic ends with a description of the hero's achievements. You mentioned how the everyday people of that time lived. No one recorded the struggles and suffering the commoners endured.
So you're saying that, instead of legendary heroes, you're more focused on commoners living on the peripheries of historical records.
Perhaps I'm influenced by my background. My ancestor, Seliosi the Day Thunder Knight, raised her spear against the sky and ushered in the flame-chasing era that continues to this day. Her story is told to every child descended from the Skyfolk. We have no doubts about Seliosi's greatness, yet her towering figure overshadowed every record from that entire era. What about the Day Thunder Knight's family, allies, and friends? What about the survivors and those who died in the great battles? Whenever I think about their stories by the campfire, I realize the details of those legends have been long lost, and only Seliosi's name remains. Her brilliance had become as blinding as Aquila's, lording over everything on the ground. That's why I'm glad that my era does not lack heroes. All my ancestors had was a sad past, but I have a future I want to protect. Instead of becoming a hero and ushering in a golden deluge to baptize the world anew, I want to stay in the backline and save all the ordinary humans from drowning in the rising waves. I wish not to return to the sky, but to walk among the masses on Earth. I believe it's the only way for the saga of creation. To include a footnote for the everyday people in its blank page.